Daniel Negreanu is looking down on pocket eights.
9,000.
Well, that was clear.
Let's screw this up.
Pre-flop, this is Negreanu doing what Negreanu does. He looks down at pocket eights and does not overcomplicate it. He raises to 9,000, the classic, let's thin the field and play a pot in position or heads up. Dimjan on the button chooses the flat. That call is him saying, I want to see 3 cards against the pro and keep my range wide. The flop is one of those dream spots for Negreanu. He flops set on a board that absolutely slams his perceived range. When he continues for 16,000, the bet is doing a lot of work. It looks like a standard continuation bet with ace-king, king-queen, or even pure spade draws, so it keeps Jacobson's floats and Dimjan's entire Broadway region interested. This is where Negreanu turns the screws. He fires 45,000 into a pot that has already grown large, and that sizing is intentional. It says, I still like my story, and if you were floating me with 1 pair or a draw, the price just went up. From his seat, there is no reason to slow down. Worse kings will still call. Combo draws will convince themselves they are priced in, and any hand like queens or jacks is hating life, but may still pay.
Ace jack.
Oh, so ain't nothing. I have 3 eights. I want you to go, ugh. All in.
The queen, the straight.
Yeah.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on pocket aces. Pre-flop, this is the classic trap where one player thinks he is peeling light and instead steps right into a vice. Negreanu raises to 450,000. It is a chunky open, and that alone should already scream strength in this spot. George defends with queen 10 suited. On paper, it is not insane. He has position, a hand that can flop top pair or strong draws, and he probably assumes Negreanu is opening wide. The flop comes 10-3 king with 2 clubs. From George's seat, this is the kind of board that looks playable but is silently dangerous. He has middle pair with queen kicker against a normal open that could be a standard continue, especially in position. Negreanu fires 400,000. That sizing is telling. It is not a tiny range bet, it is a big, old school, I have it continuation. With aces, he is not afraid of building a pot. The turn is the 7 of spades. Negreanu's strong hands are still strong. Kings, aces, ace-king, maybe king-queen all love this card. Very few of Negreanu's bluffs improve in a meaningful way. When Negreanu now moves all in, he is doing exactly what great players do with overpairs in these structures. Shove before the river kills action. He knows that if he just bets small and gets called, any club, queen, jack, or scary river freezes him and lets George realize all of his equity for cheap. By jamming turn into a pot that is already inflated, he puts tremendous pressure on all the middling hands that called flop.
He faults.
I had you beat. Good cards.
I'm happy with my fold.
Yeah.
It was hard though.
The pot was good. I'm like, I'll take it, but if you call, you call. You have to get there.
Did you have it pre-flop or you hit the king?
I had both. I had what you're supposed to have there. A pair of aces I had. Aces were good, right?
Now let's see how Negreanu pushes his luck to the limit on the very next hand.
All in.
Call.
All in.
Huh?
Call.
Oh, we got one. I'm happy with my hand. I had suited, I had a king. A lot going on there. You move in, I call this time anyway. I was just saying, screw it. Okay, we need a hat.
At least 1 heart on the flop would be good. For Daniel.
George needs the best hand to hold up to survive. The flop has a 5 and a 10 on it.
Oh, we got pairs, he's got pairs, we all got pairs. We all got 3 hearts, 3 diamonds. Pretty close race. 50-50.
Not sure the math there works, but you gotta believe it first, and Daniel really believes it.
The turn card is the 3 of diamonds.
That didn't help me at all. Quite the opposite, frankly.
5 of spades!
Oh!
Daniel wins!
That was lucky.
I just wanted clear that I clearly outplayed you in our all-in pots. Obviously.
Kid Poker is in the final.
All right. Sorry, bro. That was ugly.
Daniel Negreanu is holding on queen 10 suited. Pre-flop, this looks completely standard on the surface, but the seeds of the later pain are already there. Negreanu opens Queen 10 suited from early, the kind of hand he loves, connected, plays well, multi-way, and can make disguised big hands. Demjan flatting in position keeps his entire range wide, medium pairs, suited broadways, suited connectors, some traps. Then the big blind comes along as well. What that means strategically is simple. By the time they see a flop, there are 3 ranges involved, and Negreanu is the only one who has really capped nothing. He is the pre-flop aggressor. He has all the big pairs. He has the strongest broadways. The flop comes down absolutely dreamlike for Negreanu. 10 Jack Queen. Top 2 pair, a board that slams his perceived range as the raiser. But it is also an insanely dangerous texture. Every random hand with an open-ender or a gut shot suddenly has a reason to stay. When Jacobson checks, Negreanu does exactly what you expect from someone who just smashed this board and knows he smashes it range-wise too. He bets 22,000. The sizing is important. It is not tiny stab sizing. It is a "this pot is about to get big" sizing. Demjan just calls. That call is the first warning sign. He is not afraid of the story Negreanu is telling. The turn bricks off with the 3 of spades. From Negreanu's point of view, that is one of the safest cards in the deck. It does not complete any obvious draw. It does not pair the board. It does not change who is supposed to own this texture. So he does what good players do when nothing changes, and they already had a huge value hand. He keeps telling the same story and increases the pressure, betting 55,000. This is Negreanu effectively saying, if you were floating or gambling with some weak draw on the flop, this is your exit. If you continue now, you are representing something serious. The river brings the deuce of clubs, another nothing card in terms of raw texture. From Negreanu's seat, it is almost the perfect river. Straights are still the same straights, sets are still the same sets, and there are no obvious busted draws that suddenly got there. He still has top 2 pair on a board where he is supposed to have all the strong top-end value, so he fires again, 90,000 this time.
Raise.
I had a feeling you were going to do that on the turn. You waited. It was smart. You got me to bet one more time.
Daniel loves calling like Miley Cyrus loves a big foam finger, but I don't think even he can figure out a way to talk himself into this one.
8-9 or something? King? Doesn't matter.
Nope.
No.
Yeah, ace king. 2 pair. Queen 10. Good hand.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down at 6-5 offsuit, but he's up against his nemesis of 20 years, Phil Ivey, who's holding King Jack suited. Ivey raises to 75,000. Most players would probably fold in Daniel's spot.
No choice. Can't fold it. Gotta see a flop in the big blind.
There's the call. So it's Daniel versus Phil.
Ivey is 64% favorite for now, but the flop comes 8-6-6 and Negreanu hits trips.
8 of hearts.
I don't see Phil falling for this.
Phil checks too. I don't know how, but he can somehow feel Daniel is strong here.
A king on the turn.
Now I see him falling for it a little.
Negreanu wants Phil second-guessing every assumption. Wants him trapped between is he bluffing and is he setting me up? What looks like hesitation is actually misdirection. This is less about cards, more about control.
Daniel leads. Phil now with top pair.
Even if you think Daniel has a 6, you can't just go folding top pair.
Negreanu's sizing here leaves Ivey about 3.5 to 1 on a call. And with top pair, that's usually a no-brainer. But what Daniel's really doing here is laying the groundwork for the river. He's planting the seed that says, if you call now, you're going to have to call big later. This is psychological compounding. Pressure applied in stages. Daniel is hoping that Phil did indeed hit that king on the turn, and he's going to try to make him sweat like a maniac.
He calls. The river is a jack.
Wow, Daniel is running better than Prefontaine.
Daniel value bets his trips. Phil forced to call with top 2.
Nope.
So obvious you have a 6. Got 350.
The trip 6s. Phil shows King Jack for top 2. Daniel's trip 6s take 5.
Good call, good call. Good thing you didn't raise. That was smart. You know what you're doing.
Negreanu is looking down on 10-9 suited. Shlomi opens to $475 with pocket kings, the classic early position value raise that invites dominated high cards to make mistakes. Boniati flats behind, a routine set mine that keeps the opener wide and creates a pot where overpairs are forced to play multi-way. On the button, Negreanu overcalls with 10-9 suited. He buys position against a likely overpair, keeps the pot single raised so his connected hand can realize, and preserves a post-flop story that can credibly arrive at straights and two-pair on many middling runouts. With 3 players and deep stacks, Negreanu's plan is to control price now and fight for leverage later. The board rolls out wet and middle, exactly the texture that pressures an opener's range. Shlomi continuation bets $1,525 into 2 opponents to tax the spades and charge the gutters while protecting his likely overpair. Boniati steps aside, Negreanu continues. With top pair, strong kicker for this configuration, and position, calling is superior to raising. It keeps Shlomi's bluffs alive, avoids isolating versus the strongest value, and retains every turn card that can add equity or scare an overpair. He's now set up to maneuver without inflating the pot unnecessarily. The Queen of Hearts lands. That card is fine for kings, but improves Negreanu's believable value region to include Queen 9 and some 2-pair that could have peeled. Shlomi opts for a measured $2,125, continuing his value protection line, without bloating the pot on a card that helps the caller more than the pre-flop raiser. Negreanu calls again, disciplined and deliberate. He keeps his range uncapped, realizes equity with 10-9, and holds the option to seize the narrative on favorable rivers, or punish thin value bets with a polarizing raise. The river is the 8 of clubs, a quiet but meaningful shift that completes 6-7 and strengthens combos like 9-8 that Negreanu can absolutely show up with. Shlomi puts out a small $3,000 bet, more price setting than power, trying to get looked up by worse pairs while avoiding a big decision. Negreanu springs the trap to $12,800, polarizing himself to straights, 2-pair, or sets, and telling a story perfectly consistent with his passive turn. 10-9 is a sharp candidate. It blocks calls from Queen 9, doesn't block missed spades, and represents exactly the value holdings that beat an overpair.
Aces or kings? Can I say that, or is that illegal? Heads up. I can say what he has, but not what I have. Yeah. Okay. I'm thinking aces or kings.
I appreciate you watching this far. Could you please give this video a like? Thank you.
And Shlomi's now thinking, if you've read me for aces or kings, surely you can beat aces or kings. I have to fold.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down at 10-7 offsuit, but Seaver has raised to $1,300 with pocket 5s, and Hashem has called with Jack 10 suited.
Uh-oh, this is Daniel's favorite hand, and it's actually gotten him into trouble in the big game before.
Re-raises on the button to 5,200.
He knows Seaver's range is wide and Hashem's flat is vulnerable. Even though it's his favorite hand, he's trying to play the players, not the cards. This raise is about letting them know that he's going to give them a hard time this hand if they decide to play along.
Scott Seaver is really hoping Daniel has an overpair so that he has the right implied odds to make this call.
Hashem folded, so heads up to the flop. King, deuce, queen. Seaver checks the best hand.
Negreanu knows Seaver could easily have king-queen here after raising and then calling Daniel's re-raise pre-flop. But why would he check? Daniel smells weakness, and that's usually when he gets curious.
He reps, betting 6,200.
Looks like Scott's gonna peel.
He calls.
Hashem wants his cards back.
6 of spades on the turn. Seaver checks.
Daniel still got just 10 high. This is one of the dangers of having a favorite hand.
Daniel does not look like he's about to check. After just calling the flop and checking the turn, Negreanu is probably putting Seaver on a draw or the weak pocket pair he does indeed have. He's thinking, if I apply the right pressure now, Seaver might just fold and give me all the money.
Daniel does fire that third barrel, making it 14,200 to go.
I could justify Scott's call on the flop, thinking maybe Daniel would shut down after one bet, but Daniel certainly hasn't shut down.
Seaver keeps it going. He calls.
Seaver's totally stationing Negreanu.
You mean like a calling station?
Exactly.
4 clubs on the river. Seaver checks.
Sick.
Daniel fires 36,000.
Seaver is capped, checked every street, and never repped strength. Daniel has nothing, but he knows Seaver is weak enough to fold. This is a masterclass.
Folds the winner.
Phew-wee. He had me staring. I had my favorite hand. You know what that is?
10-7?
7 of diamonds and 10 of clubs specifically. Can't believe I got away with a bluff.
Negreanu is looking down on pocket deuces. Luca opens to 30K with pocket 9s, a bread and butter early raise that covers a wide band of low and middling boards and pressures the offsuit broadways behind him. The hand wants callers who show up with overcards and then miss. It also doesn't mind playing smaller pots where it can value bet cleanly across safe runouts. Negreanu flat calls with pocket deuces. Small pairs love this configuration. He has position to control price. Stacks are deep enough to realize implied odds, and keeping it single raise preserves all the set and wheel runouts that print against one pair. Turning deuces into a 3-bet would just funnel Luca into strong overpairs and invite a 4-bet. Calling keeps the deck wide and the story flexible. The flop comes low and connected, exactly the texture where the caller can credibly have all the sets and the occasional 4-2 or 6-5. Luca makes the routine range C-bet for 28K. On this board, the small size folds out pure air, taxes random overcards like ace-queen, and keeps worse-made hands honest without bloating the pot or polarizing his range. Negreanu's raised to 95K. From this configuration is perfectly believable. He's repping sets, 2-pair like 6-5 suited, and some straights. With deuces, he isn't spinning it. He holds a live gutter to the wheel plus 2 cleanouts to a set, so he's applying pressure with real equity while seizing the narrative. The sizing forces overpairs and top pairs to define themselves now, rather than getting a cheap turn that could punish them. Luca's call protects his overpairs and some slow plays, but it also hands tempo to Negreanu and nudges Luca toward a bluff-catch posture on a lot of turns. He's inviting Negreanu to keep telling the story and hoping to catch him on a bad card. The turn pairs the 3 and Luca checks. It's a tricky card for both players. It slightly trims the number of set combos. Negreanu repped on the flop, while making overpairs feel a touch safer against bluffs and draws. Negreanu checks back. That's the disciplined pivot. Firing again would polarize on a card that dulls his set story and invites stubborn calls from exactly the hands he wants to move on the river. The river is the 8 of clubs, and Luca checks a 3rd time. After flop pressure and turn control, that 3rd check leaves his range heavy on single pair hands that hate facing a big ask.
Daniel bets ridiculously big, 400K.
Wow.
And Luca folds.
That was not the bet he was trying to induce. Daniel's reputation earns him a win there. Bluffs like that from him are few and far between.